Everyone remembers cootie catchers, those wonderful little paper contractions that prophesy your divine fortune. We went looking for answers around SFHS. Where did cootie catchers come from? More importantly, why did they go out of style? Was it too many paper cuts? Were cootie catchers just too hardcore for you? Were your whittle fingers just too tuckered out that they couldn't tell one more measly little fortune?
Yes, I could.
Lies! Ancient Chinese monks had no problem, so why should you? Let's backtrack. Where'd cootie catchers come from, you ask?
No, I didn't.
Shush! Well, no one seems to know for sure.
Where do I think cootie catchers come from?
But there are a few theories out there. Scientists Dr. Sponge and Dr. Sponge had this to say.
Science has led us to believe that they were created in the Big Bang, like everything else!
We asked Werner von Stonestein of the television program Historian's Corner to share his thoughts on the origins of the cootie catcher, but he declined an interview. Instead, he pompously filmed his own segment on the topic.
Hello and welcome to Historian's Corner. I am Werner von Stonestein, and this is Bilson. Today's segment is on cootie catchers, and where they came from. And why they went out of style! Shush, you haven't the time. As for where they came from, we believe it went something like this. Do you need a babysitter? Wasn't that wonderful, Bilson? It was wonderful, Warner. Of course it was.
But the high priest of the Church of Origami insists.
They were given to the greatest paper folders by the ancient origami gods of old.
And our neighbor Bob says this.
Them aliens beamed them down.
But believe it or not, we were more interested in these people's opinions.
Okay, so there was an Asian guide, and he used to tell everybody's fortunes, but he got tired of like telling all the people individually, so he put a designated person in the world to invent this thing and tell people's fortunes with it. So he didn't have to do anything. What the hell are you talking about? I'm telling them how to do the thingy. She's interviewing me because that's what happened.
I knew that. I just figured I would let her tell the story, to make her look good.
Pizza burger is good.
Came from Antarctica and Alaska.
They come from a long line of people that came from this continent, Africa.
The cootie catcher, as most people across the world know, comes from some boy-crazed junior high girls that use them to catch boys.
I'm looking it up right now.
That first started in the region of the western side of Africa, right around here, around Liberia and Sierra Leone.
Indians.
Probably an elementary student that got really bored.
I think that somebody's older sibling decided to find a way to freak out their little sibling and was like, look at this!
What do you think?
Chinese people? Yes.
The year was 1492.
They go back a long ways then? Mm-hmm. Would you say to 1492?
Something like that.
Aboard the Santa Maria, Christopher Columbus's crew was bored. They were not sure if they were going to find land or not. Suddenly, one man by the name of Socrates came up with the idea of the Goonie Goonies, which evolved into what we know today as the
Cootie catcher?
Cootie catcher.
Cootie catcher.
Cootie catcher.
Yeah.
Cootie catcher?
Yes.
And that is how it all happened.
You know, I really wish I'd been given a little more time to put together this presentation on cootie catchers, because they really do have a very important and deep significance historically. So when I was asked to comment on the history of the cootie catcher, I drew up a few audio visuals because, again, I don't have access to all my materials, but the first real reference to cootie catchers was something like this. This is a representation of a cave painting at Lascaux. All right, you see obviously a man chasing a large hoofed mammal. In one hand, he has what else? Cootie catcher, has to be. And being that these people really didn't bathe too often, it was probably as much an essential as a spear or fire. Historically, the next time we see a cootie catcher is, well, this is the outside of an Egyptian sarcophagus. Okay, I know it's terrible drawing. We look inside and we have a man, or what's left of a man, grinning up a storm. Quite obviously, in his hands, there's a cootie catcher. As to how the cootie catcher got to North America, no one is 100% sure, but we are positive we found cootie catchers in Aztec pyramids. Probably cootie catchers are as old as the human race, absolutely. As soon as man developed an opposable thumb, his first instinct was to make a weapon to run around and kill his fellow man, and probably right after that, cootie catcher, for sure.
It's how it all happened.
No.
But why don't we see cootie catchers around as much anymore? If they were so widely used, why'd they disappear? Or perhaps that was the reason. Was it that you saw them everywhere, and they began to frighten you? In conclusion, though the origin of the cootie catcher remains unclear, we think they've become less popular simply because, well, fortune cookies taste better.